Hi everybody and welcome back to Time to Go. Bob here. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. So today guys, we're going to be taking a look at a Seiko that is probably the most beautiful Seiko I've ever seen in person. Hands down the most beautiful dial I've ever seen in person. The watch we're looking at is the SARX029. This is an Urushi model, and if you're not familiar with the Urushi models, it's referring to the type of finish on the dial, and we'll talk more about that here in a minute. Now, this watch was sent in from a good friend and viewer of the channel, Jay. He sent this along with his tune-up that we looked at last week, so I really appreciate that, Jay. Fantastic watches. Really glad you were able to do that for us. So let's spin the camera around and get into the Urushi.
Alright, so before we get into the watch, I just have to say this is a bit of a tricky one to photograph and film. The dial is so glossy and there's a lot of reflections, but I'll do my best here. So what is Urushi? Urushi is a Japanese lacquer. It's used to finish anything from dishware to chopsticks and now watch dials. The Urushi artist behind the dial finishing on this and a few other Urushi models is Ishu Tamura. There's a really great article I found where he talks a little bit about the process. It's a great read if you're considering one of these. Link will be in the descriptions. The dials on these are hand applied with multiple coats of lacquer and also hand polished. The process takes a total of about 3 weeks and the end result is just the deepest black dial. The way the light plays off of this dial is really amazing. There's slight differences in the thickness of the lacquer, especially around the date window and hand stack that give it a really beautiful luster. If you get a chance to see one in person, you're just going to be blown away. Again, really hard to capture this on video though. So the dial is certainly the star of the show here, and we'll circle back to it here soon, but Seiko is up their game on a few fronts with this one, and that includes the strap. Now, I've seen this listed as genuine alligator as well as genuine leather. I couldn't confirm either way, but the quality is next level compared to the usual straps you'd see from Seiko. I'd say it's more likely to be just genuine leather, but really soft, pliable leather. Looks great with the stitch work matching the gold accents. The deployant clasp, you'll see if we can just open it up here, is milled stainless steel. Kind of reminds me of the Black Bay clasps with how thin it is, but because of that, it wears really well. As far as some of the numbers go, we have a case width of about 40.5 millimeters. Lug to lug is 47.5 millimeters. The lug opening is 20 millimeters, and we have a thickness of 12 millimeters. The crystal is sapphire. We have 100 meters of water resist, and the watch houses the 6R15 movement. Really nice, smooth, winding action, and you get about 50 hours of power reserve with this one. So back to the dial here, and just check out how this thing catches the light. You can see the different height in the lacquer, again, right around that date window and the hand stack. Absolutely beautiful dial. And other than that beautiful lacquered finish, the dial is actually pretty well laid out. The silver and gold really pop against the black. Pretty minimal print work with Seiko up top and automatic 23 jewels just above the 6. One nice little touch with the Roman numerals is how they've done the 3. If you see by the date window, instead of chopping it in half, they've actually made it a smaller sized font to keep the full numerals. Haven't seen it done quite like that before. The date window is framed in gold, and the handset that's also gold has a beautifully almost frosted finish. Perfect choice of handset for this watch to me. The case is excellently finished with a polished bezel, brushed lugs, and again some polish work on the case sides. Some nice details with that bevel on the inner part of the lugs. There's a bevel down here towards the case back as well, which gives the watch the appearance of a bit of a slimmer side profile. The crown you'll see here is signed with the Seiko S, and if we look at the case back, you'll see we do have a display case back showcasing the 6R15 working away. Just an absolute gorgeous watch. So let's take a quick look on wrist. And here it is, and I just can't get over how beautiful the dial is on this one. I don't have many dressy watches on the channel, but this one is just, wow, it is absolutely gorgeous. So there is a couple of things to consider if you're thinking of picking one of these up, though, and number one would be the size. I have a 7.25 inch wrist, and I love how it wears, but it's going to be a little big for a dress watch for some people. Depends on your wrist size and preference, but something to think about. The other thing is the cost. There's a lot of people in the community that feel the increased prices aren't justified on some of the Seikos lately, with no improvement when it comes to the movement. I'd normally agree, but the craftsmanship that's gone into these models adds some value. Whether it makes up the full value difference or not is up to you guys, but I just really like the look, really comfy on wrist. I'll definitely miss having this one around. So again, a big thanks to Jay for sending this in. Really awesome that you did that for us. Thanks so much to you guys for stopping by today, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.